Good evening everyone and welcome to Watkins Glen for this round 7 of the Engine Oil Direct Touring Car Championship, and my name is Andrew Woodhouse. Alongside me is Adam Bath and Alex Simpson. Alex will be along in a moment, but first of all, Adam, over to you with the grid lineup and the championship standings.
Yes, good evening Andrew, good evening everyone. Welcome to Watkins Glen International, probably one of my favourite tracks on the BSRTC calendar. But in qualifying, it was Graham Carroll who took pole position. He drives to Apex Racing TV, and alongside him on the grid is Steve Walker, the pole position man from Donington. Then on row 2 it is David Baker with Alexander Smolensky. Then moving on to row 3 it's Dan Hunt and Daniel Kraft. 7th place for Simon Fields with Ellis Stevens in 8th, Robert Graham in 9th, and Julian Janowski round out the top 10. 11th is Ben Palmer, 12th is Dan Blake, 13th is Luis Silveira. He was racing in the World Cup of iRacing at the weekend. 14th Russell Laidler, 15th Robert Plumley, 16th Jim Flanagan, 17th Laura Bond, 18th Peter Newman, 19th Gordon Wilson, and rounding up the top 20 is Halit Ertas. And in the Drivers' Championship, it is very close at the top, only 2 points separating David Baker. And if I can just get my graphics up, yes, it's David Baker and Simon Fields. So 2 points separating the Lugnuts car and the Peter Newman Media. Oculus 360 though, they're up in 3rd place. Dan Hunt's doing a fantastic job for them on their first season in the championship. Alexander Smolensky, he's a newcomer to the Elite 220 team, he's in 4th. Ellis Stevens, he has a bit of reputation in the championship for a bit of hard contact racing, he's in 5th place. Then in 6th and 7th we've got 2 AM drivers, Stephen Burke and Paul Smith. Watch out for them tonight, see if they can mix it up at the front. Then in 8th is Russell Laidler, 9th Robert Plumley, and in 10th place is Jamie Rushworth. He's a privateer this season. He won't be doing any more races as far as we know. And Andrew, we are going down to the grid now.
Yeah, thanks very much for that, mate. Always prepared with those standings for us. Alex Simpson, I bring you in there, mate. Welcome. Watkins Glen. It's going to be a good one. It's the classic layout tonight.
Yeah, always love a little bit of Watkins. It's gonna be great. Some huge draft impacts, I would guess here. There's a bit of a larger split in qualifying than perhaps I expected. I thought it was going to be just a few hundred separating most of the field, but yeah, out front they just seemed to be particularly quick.
Times are still close though, and where's going to be the main overtaking opportunities, because there's not that many heavy braking zones on this layout at all.
Yeah, I think going into the carousel and then the penultimate corner are your best chances. Those straights just long enough to get alongside and have a look, and if you can't get it done going into the carousel, usually you can shape something up so you get a good exit into that penultimate corner.
Okay, thanks very much for that, and we are not far away now from the start of this round 7. Revs are rising here at Watkins. The green light is on and it's a reasonable start from Carroll. Steve Walker got away well as well from the front row. Everyone away cleanly, but it remains to be seen what's going to happen down in turn 1. Usually incidents here, Adam.
Yeah, Graham Carroll gets through there fine, so does Steve Walker, but it's anyone's guess who's going to be 3rd. I think it's David Baker. Yes, it is. He manages to hold on ahead of Alex Smolensky as we head through the S's for the first time.
No incidents, Alex, in that first corner. Amazing.
Yeah, that's a great one. It's always a disaster when it happens. You just seem to bump off of those Armco rails straight into traffic, so good to see everyone through that.
Graham Carroll leads then, Colin Steele last, so Apex Racing TV bringing up the front and the rear of the pack. But look at that, Andrew, a whole load of drafting going into the carousel.
Yeah, very difficult to pass into the carousel. At 2 and 3 wide behind them, you see one of the Apex Racing TV cars. I believe that's Robert Graham. He just got past Ellis Stevens.
And David Baker just went wide into the carousel as well, so that's allowed Smolensky through into 3rd place.
Somebody's off at the back on the grass. It was a Lugnuts car there. I think it was Paul Smith, but he's no damage done. He just went very wide out of that carousel. Alex, very easy to do.
Oh, there's a big crash further back in that penultimate corner. 3, 4, 5, maybe half a dozen cars caught up in that now.
It's John Roberts is there, Gordon Wilson, Paul Smith, the aforementioned, and Halit Ertas. I believe those are the men involved.
So around to complete the first lap, then it's Graham Carroll that leads, Steve Walker second, Smolenski third, David Baker fourth, Simon Fields in fifth, then it's Dan Craft in sixth, Daniel Hunt in seventh place, eighth place is Robert Graham, ninth is Ben Palmer, and Ellis Stevens rounds out the top 10.
Do you think, Alex, it's going to be very difficult for Graham Carroll to get away, or do you think, do you have a shot at breaking away on this track?
I think you're going to need to, say, drop 0.6 of a second before you've got any chance, and I honestly can't see it. Steve Walker looks pretty quick, and you can see now
bit of
he's
contact
intent.
Sorry, boys, bit of contact in the carousel. That was, goodness me. Russell Laidler went into the back of Ellis Stevens, and then he was nearly turned around by one of the Lugnuts cars. I believe that was Janowski, and it's all very tight back there. They're all jostling for position. You've got Pete Newman and Jim Flanagan, also, they're side by side through the last 2 or 3 corners, in fact.
And as you were saying in the build-up, Alex and Andrew, there are so few overtaking spots here. Turn 1 maybe is an overtaking spot as Steve Walker has a look, and as you were saying, that going into the carousel after slipstreaming him down the back straight and that penultimate corner. So that is why we're seeing such close racing, because there's so few overtaking possibilities.
Turn 1, definitely you have a chance. Graham Carroll, though, he's not been able to escape from Steve Walker, Adam, and really the risk he's got is trying to use too much of his tyres to try and break away, isn't it?
Yeah, they both lap similar lap times the last time around. We've still got 15 laps to go as one of the Oculus 360 cars is trying to get past one of the Peter Newman cars down the straight. Through the carousel, we saw Steve Walker a lap ago try to get past Graham Carroll. It is a one-line sort of corner, because if you try to go around the outside, you'll just end up understeering wide. So you need to stay in the wheel tracks of the car in front so that you can get the best possible run down this short chute down to the penultimate corner. Simon Field looking now at trying to get past David Baker. That's the battle for third place. Alex Smolenski involved as well as we come out down the front straight. Those 3, they're all involved in that battle. Smolenski's going to have to do some defensive driving, Andrew.
Yeah, he is indeed. And he's doing that fairly well for Elite 220.
Simon Field just sets the fastest lap of the race there, so tucked up in that pack.
Yeah, do you think he's going to be able to get through that, Alex? Do you think he's going to be able to make his way forward for Peter Newman Media?
This is the thing, I think it's quite tricky.
Oh, he's gone wide there, though. Very nearly hit the wall.
He's under a little bit of pressure from his teammate here, but I think the problem is once you're second or third car in the pack, you've kind of got to wait for the other guys to make a move. But yeah, look at how much momentum he lost there.
A bit like a DRS train at the start of a Formula 1 race, isn't it? The guys in third and fourth really can't really do anything until it's been sorted out side by side then with Daniel Craft and Daniel Hunt. And look at the speed of that Oculus 360 car. Got really good drive off the carousel, and Dan Hunt, who we saw go so well last week, got 2 wins. He's going to be he's fighting his way forward as well, Adam.
Yes, Dan Hunt, of course, has got a really good shot of the championship this season. Only 2 points separating.
Oh, big crash in the background. I think it's Robert Plumley. Upside down, over and out. That's him done, I think.
And Simon,
quick look at that on replay.
It's Calf coming down the final corner as well. Dear.
Someone went wide there. I'm not sure who that was. Oh, that seems absolute. Oh God. Yeah. So just look at it there. It was really, really silly. Just looked like everybody bunched up in that last corner, and Plumley there, just a little touch. He just spat the car wide, bounced up against the tyre wall, and flipped the car. So, yeah, disaster for Plumley there. We gutted with that one.
You can say he was very unlucky, really. It was all checking up, wasn't it? It's almost like a typical oval accident, that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it looked like. Just the guys just checking up there, but yeah, to hit the wall like that, and normally you just sort of skim that kind of wall, and you're okay, kind of thing. You lose a bit of momentum, but for it just to spit him up in the air and flip him over like that, very strange.
He went straight in though, didn't he? There wasn't really anywhere for him to go, unfortunately, or skim across. As Graham Carroll still leads, he's actually got a tiny bit more of a gap, Adam. It's about maybe half a second now, maybe 8 tenths.
On Baker, that's obviously important for the championship.
Yeah, Dan Hunt sitting in third place, only 31 points behind David Baker. Smolenski just starting to pull away now, but the Lugnuts car is desperate to get past Dan Hunt as we head down this straight. He's going to pick up the toe as best as he can and then try and have a look down into the carousel. That is one of the overtaking places that we talked about earlier, but no, David Baker cannot get past. He started a bit low down the pack. He has lost a few places though as a result of Smolenski getting by, so he's now in 5th place and he'll be desperate to get past Dan Hunt.
What do you expect from Smolenski, Adam, tonight? He had a strong race at Daytona, race 1, very good pace, and we didn't see him again for the rest of the night. What do you think he can do here?
He seems to be good up at the front, and I think that's because it's a lot cleaner up there, Andrew. I think in the reverse grid races at Daytona, he had a bit of contact throughout the race, and that was what really made him not score as many points as he wanted to. But once again, in race 1, he's putting up a good show. It's just going to be interesting to see what he can do in the remaining 2 races, because of course we have that reverse grid draw. Smolenski will be back in the pack for the next race.
Yeah, very good point. Alex, you've raced on this track quite a lot. Just how difficult is it to make a move here? I've raced here and not easy at all, I don't think.
I think if you're the car directly behind the person you want to obviously get past and there's no one in front of them, it's not too bad. You can get the run, you can do it. The important thing is making sure turn 1's is, you absolutely nail it. If you don't quite get that right, it is a little tricky in itself because you're going into the corner effectively blind. You can't really see your apex as well as you want to be, so it is tricky. But the driver who seems to be making his way through looked like it was Dan Hunt was doing a great job out there. Seems to have a lot of traffic just in and around us at the moment. Or is that a back marker just ahead? I think it is, isn't it?
No, it's Smolenski's there, yeah. Paul Smith's at the front of this queue, desperately trying to stay on the lead lap in case there's a safety car, and looking down the inside then into turn 1. That was Daniel Hunt, and he slightly missed his braking point, but he didn't lose out at all to David Baker, and that's important.
That was very risky there by Smolenski, cutting across right in front of Dan Hunt. I remember Juan Pablo Montoya and Kevin Harvick having a huge incident there down at turn 1 in a NASCAR race a few years ago. As one
they
of the
had a fight as well.
Yeah, they did. That was at turn 1, I think about 2007, as one of the Lugnuts cars, I think that was Baker, makes another mistake, and that allows the Peter Newman car of Dan Kraft to have a look as we head down to the carousel. 10 laps to go here. Shoving
match between Montoya and Harvick's one of my favourite NASCAR moments. Actually, it's such a petty little incident. You see that big pack of cars, actually, gentlemen, coming down the back straight. So it's 10th, 11th, 12th, and onwards. It's Silvera. Ellis Stevens is second in line, and then third in is Russell Laidler, then Laura Bond. Stevens actually having a look now at Silvera. He's got a good run. Very difficult to get past in the last 2 corners, though. He's not going to make it round the outside, Adam.
Yeah, he hung Stevens out to dry there, and he's going to try and get the cut back down into the final corner, but Silvera has the momentum as we head through the final corner to start another lap. But Stevens is right onto the back of that Oculus 360 car. Luis Silvera was racing in the iRacing Brazilian Grand Prix at the weekend in the Dallara DW12s. Of course, they're completely different to these Kia Optimas as we head into turn 1, but he's just able to keep the car ahead of Ellis Stevens.
Ellis got a great run off of that corner. Oh, major crash going on up there. What was that? That's Smolenski,
isn't it? And one of the white and blue cars as well. I've forgotten the team name, unfortunately.
Peter Newman.
Ben Palmer, wasn't it?
Yeah, Peter Newman. Right, I'm just having a little look at what's going on. So Kraft is on the outside of Smolenski here. Oh, it's just Dan Hunt. It's just netcode just drags them together. I mean, they were sort of rubbing a little bit, but still. Oh, and then of course he just gets absolutely rogered. And as I said, there's nowhere to go. Unfortunately, the track doesn't get cleared out until someone catapults him over the Armco.
Oh dear.
Yeah, the track does filter down going through those SS sections, and we see in NASCAR all the time those kind of collisions happen due to the track narrowing there.
Yep, and that's the nature of Watkins, isn't it? I mean, it's just one of those tracks where silly incidents can happen. There's been no silly incidents at the front for Graham Carroll. He's really having a good run. I believe this is the first meeting he's had, isn't it, this season?
No, he has been in another one of the races. I've definitely seen him in here before, but yeah, perhaps not as strong this season as the team without last season's champion Svidovic.
Graham Carroll
Good
won a few
point.
races last season. One of the races that springs to mind was at Road America. Steve Walker now looks to be getting a bit more interested in that battle for the lead. David Baker is now in 3rd place with Dan Kraft up in 4th. Simon Field 5th, Luis Silveira 6th. All these drivers have been promoted a few places as a result of that huge contact. Laura Bond is in 7th, Pete Newman in 8th, Dan Blake in 9th, and Jim Flanagan in 10th.
That's the thing, the main beneficiary, Adam, is David Baker, because now he gets a clean run at his teammate Steve Walker. And if he can get up past Walker, he's got a good chance of getting to Carroll. I mean, there's still 7 laps to go here.
And this, of course, will help his slender 2-point margin over Simon Field. Simon Field down in 5th place. That 5th place isn't that bad for Simon Field, but we saw in the NASCAR racing at the weekend, Jeff Gordon finished in 2nd place, but 2nd place still was not good enough to get him that spot in the chase. So every position does still count. We've got 7 laps to go. Of course, there's still a whole lot of racing time still to go here. Watkins Glen. Anything can still happen. Simon Fields only is 4.3 seconds behind Dan Kraft. He sadly is lapping a second slower than Kraft, but 5th place. Anything could still happen with the likes of Steve Walker and Graham Carroll up in front. So he just needs to keep the car on the road.
Just jumped on board with Laura Bond for a second. She just tags the anchor at the top of the hill. She's looking quite racy. She's tucked up behind Louise and Pete there, so and she just has a little look on the inside into the carousel.
Pete Newman.
Yeah, Newman trying to go around the outside there, but not going to work. Not this time anyway. Head of that train is Silveira. Not showing really good pace here. Not as good as he was at Daytona, but he doesn't have the advantage of having someone to follow in the slipstream. So it's all about defence for Luis Silveira at the minute.
Silveira was very slow last time around. He did a 1 minute 16.333 as we come around to complete another lap. 6 laps to go here at Watkins Glen. This is probably one of the closest battles we've got on track. About a second covering 6th through 10 as we head into turn 1. Silveira hanging it out there in the front wheel drive. Kia Optima through the first corner, runs over the curbs on the exit. That of course allows Peter Newman to be a bit closer to the Oculus 360 car as we head up through the S's, but he's got to look in the mirrors because Laura Bond is really racy, as you were saying, Alex. Really close to that Armco barrier on the exit. Pete Newman going to go around the outside here of Luis Silveira down the straight towards the carousel.
He was getting a little bit of push from Laura Bond as well, a bit of aero push, giving him that little advantage, but now Bond switched over to the inside because she knows that if these two go side by side, there's a chance for her to sneak up the inside of Peter Newman.
But
Peter
Dan
Newman.
Blake's getting a bit of a run round the outside. She has to cover him off in the end there.
Great move by Peter Newman.
Just to put into perspective how slow they went on that lap with Silveira. Colin Steele was... Oh, Silveira has a little look. Colin Steele's last of the runners on the lead lap. He was 3 seconds quicker than those guys on that lap. So it really was a poor lap by Silveira. And he's paying for it now with his positions.
I think that was just down to that incident that we saw coming out of turn 1. I think all these guys had particularly poor laps just because they all checked up, wanting to know what was going on through that as they had cars everywhere in front of them there.
Further up the order, David Baker is now closed in on Steve Walker. They're both in the slipstream now. 5 laps to go. Will Baker get past his teammates? We saw these two make contact at Donington earlier in the season. Steve Walker gives Baker plenty of room this time. Baker up into 2nd place, and I think he can taste that victory.
Yeah, that was a yield, Adam, I think. And he's on the grass there, not yielding at all. Now we can have a go at Graham Carroll. Now, will Carroll defend him as vociferously as we know Graham can? Because, Alex, the championship not up for grabs for him.
No, not at all. It's all about the wins, really. Well, I mean, it's still a short season, so, you know, if he bangs in a load of victories, he might be right back in the shout. But, yeah, it's all about personal pride, I think, today, so he'll want to take this victory for sure.
Last time around, even with David Baker running over the grass, he still did a 1 minute 11.825, which was around about half a second quicker than Graham Carroll, who did a 1 minute 12.3. We've got 4 laps to go as we head up through the S's now. David Baker, I think he's a bit too far back to mount any sort of a challenge at the moment, but surely in a few laps' time, we're going to have an epic climax to this race 1.
Dan Hunt just set the fastest lap of the race way back down in 21st place.
Yep, new tyres, new car. Working quite nice for Dan Hunt. He will score points at this rate anyway. So Dave Baker's just been an absolute revelation this season. I know a couple of the guys who were ahead of him in the championship haven't turned up this season, but that doesn't... I think Baker's definitely got faster and better as he goes side by side with Graham Carroll down towards the penultimate corner. And he switches back, try and set him up through the final corner. Now then, let's see. Baker can use the slipstream to his advantage. Is he going to have a dive into turn one? He's in the perfect position, Adam, now.
Yes, he is. He looks out, but just does a feint move there to try and distract Graham Carroll. The lap times last time around, Baker was only 0.3 of a second quicker, but that's because he's now in the wheel tracks of Graham Carroll, who runs very wide through that first corner. But now we head up the hill through the S's and down the back straight. We've got 3 laps to go here. This is going to be an epic finish, especially if these two start making a hash of it. That will allow Steve Walker to get involved as well. Graham Carroll having to defend the inside line. David Baker moves to the outside line now. We've seen this move work. Peter Newman did it earlier in the race. Into the carousel now. Will Graham Carroll leave his braking to the last possible moment? Yes, he does. They're going to rub each other surely through the 180-degree right hand of the carousel. Who will be out of it first? It is Graham Carroll just.
Great defensive drive from Carroll there. He knew what he needed to do. Exit the corner perfect. Left enough room. Did Dave Baker as well. Extremely fair. Could have squeezed him off easily there. So a lot of respect shown for each other there.
See Alex under braking there. Just how light the rear goes in these front wheel drive Kia Optimas into that second to last corner.
Yeah, that would be like my worst version of hell, I think.
Oh, and he goes. Dave Baker going through on the inside.
And he just
And
stops
Steve
the car.
Walker.
He's rubbing the back of the Apex Racing TV car as we head up the hill. David Baker, of course, has now got the lead. I thought he was going to end up running wide, but he just managed to stop the car in time. These Kia Optimas, of course, are front-wheel drive, and now we've got a freeway battle for the lead. 2 laps to go, and now David Baker is going to be the victim of the slipstream as we head down the back straight and into the carousel. 2 laps to go, 1.5 laps now to go, in fact. Steve Walker is going to be bum drafting David Baker nearly into the carousel now, and it's just going to be David Baker that leads, and I think Graham Carroll is going to be hung out to dry, but no, he's going to have the traction on the exit. They're going to be side by side. It's going to be contact surely. Graham Carroll has now got the inside line for the penultimate corner, and I think Graham Carroll, Andrew, is going to get the lead.
He has the inside line. He almost allows Steve Walker to get in there as well. Baker, he can't fight him on the outside. That's impossible. But again, he's going to try and do the same move as we're going to head on to the final lap now. And who's going to take this? David Baker, Graham Carroll, Steve Walker. It's anybody's, Alex, as they come down towards turn one.
Yeah, this is going to be the pivotal corner. Is he going to wait for it? No,
He's
he
going to have
goes
to go
up the
for it.
inside.
And he does go for it. He's through.
Side by side. And Steve Walker, this is going to be bringing a smile to his face. They nearly make contact through the S's. Now Graham Carroll is going to use the slipstream to his benefit. David Baker once again is going to be hung out to dry as we head down the back straight.
Is it too early, Adam?
Yeah, I think David Baker made the move a bit too early. We're going to see if he's going to pay for that now. They're right with each other. 3 cars in line as we head down the back straight. Graham Carroll just pulls out of the slipstream. Now they're going to go side by side. They rub each other.
Bit of a nudge.
That was nearly disaster there as we headed into the carousel, and I think that's hindered Graham Carroll's progress. David Baker's just going to keep that car on the racing line, and it's all going to be about this penultimate corner now.
Solid defending, Alex, through the carousel from David Baker.
Yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with that, I don't think. This is do or die into this final corner.
Oh, that's really
Baker's
close.
running wide a little bit, twitching away. Steve Walker's going to have a look. Is he into the final corner? I don't think he can make it. Oh, up on the curb.
And I think it's going to be David Baker that takes this race 1 victory. What a race.
Yeah,
Baker wins.
Great driving there from all 3 drivers. I have to say, lug nuts look really strong again here this week at Watkins.
So Dan Craft gets 4th place, Peter Newman 5th,
Oh, look
for
at
Simon
that,
Field.
7th. Sorry, it's not 7th, it's a bit further back. I think that was 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. All rushing across the line together.
Summerfield then finished in 4th place with Daniel Craft in 5th, Peter Newman in 6th, Laura Bond 7th, Jim Flanagan in 8th, Dan Blake in 9th, and Luis Silvera round out the top 10.
Still cars battling out of the final corner at the back of the field. It's goodness me, Eckhart von Glan. It was. Yes,
David
it was Eckhart
Brock
von
and
Glan, Halle
Halle
Turtas,
Ertas, yeah.
David Brock, Gordon Wilson. That was a cracking race, and that was for 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. So again, just showing the competitiveness of this BSRTC, Adam.
Yes, a fantastic opening race of the evening. I didn't expect it to be that closely fought. We usually see those kind of races in race 2 and race 3. I just hope it continues for the rest of the evening. The cars that we've got in the reverse grid places, that's places 15 to 20, are Eckhart von Glan in 15th, David Brock in 16th, Halle Ertas in 17th, Gordon Wilson in 18th, Colin Steele in 19th, and in 20th place is Robert Plumley. So Robert Plumley will be hoping for a full reverse grid draw so that he can get that pole position after that early contact.
Robert Plumley won't be anywhere near the reverse grid, I don't think, Adam. This rate. 15, yeah, he's down in 25th place, wasn't he? So, 15th John Roberts, 16th Eckhart von Glan, 17th Halle Ertas, 18th David Brock, 19th Gordon Wilson, 20th Colin Steele. They're going to be the men, I think, who
Yeah. Sorry about
taking
that.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I was looking at the wrong timing screen, and usually I get my stats right, so that's the first.
Yeah, there seems to be a little issue with the update because I obviously see a very, very similar. I'll get the information on my time screen as you, Adam, and yeah, mine was all out of whack as well. Though seems to wait until the session everybody crosses the line now before we get the definitive results, which is a little strange. But let me bring up the magic die and see who's going to take this pole position.
We did have requests as well afterwards on social media this week of looking back on one of the main incidents of the race, so we should try and do that as well. We've given the pole position draw.
Yeah, let's just. Well, I think we need to go back and look at what happened with Slominski in a bit more detail. So we'll bring that up because obviously that had a bit of a bounce-on effect there with so many drivers caught up in that. But yes, so the magic die. Let's just do our courtesy 3 rolls just to make sure I'm not trying to dodge you all. As 20th comes up first, I'm sure they would have loved that. And then 17th, 16th is the final of the test rolls. And for the main roll to see who's going to get pole position in tonight's second round, 19th.
Gordon Wilson goes on to pole position. That's going to be interesting. Alongside him will be David Brock. And then on row 2 will be Halle Ertas and Eckhart von Glan with John Roberts in 5th.
Right, now I wonder if one of you
Lap
gentlemen
9.
could... Yeah, there we go, thank you very much. Just wanted to know roughly where we were.
Between turns 1 and 2, lap 9. We're going to take a look back for everybody watching at the incident that took out a few cars, including Alex Smolenski. Daniel Hunt, one of the championship contenders, and was very lucky as well. We'll see, Alex, when you wind this back, that David Baker was very, very fortunate indeed here.
Right, let's see if we've got this up correctly. We've got it back, so we can do that. I wonder if I can just slow it down a little bit as well and see exactly what happened here. Let's go a bit slower as well. We were fighting hard into turn 1 as well. That was, I think, where it all stemmed from, side by side. Both drivers managed to get through that absolutely fine. I'm not sure who that was behind them at the time in the lug nuts.
David.
Car. That's David Baker. So it literally was like the parting of the sea for him, wasn't it? When those two hit each other. But yeah, we can just see it from this angle. Look, you can just see they're just being drawn in together there. There's nothing you can do. The Arco's right there. Both drivers just wow. Yeah. Dan Hunt just obviously out straight away. Slominski's done a 720 double axle cross. You know, doesn't quite land it though.
No.
But yeah, still bounces at all. So yeah, got 0 points from the judges for the landing on that one. And then of course Ellis just is going to come steaming in here in a minute, I think.
Good artistic impression though, Alex.
Yeah. Oh no,
good.
it's not Ellis. Who's this just coming up behind? I'm not sure who that was, but
it was there was Paul Smith, and then one of the Apex Racing TV cars. Let's have a look. Oh, it was
And it was Ellis
Ben Palmer.
who got second, who knocked him out of the park there, home run, straight over the sponsorship signage as well. So
we're in New York, home of the Yankees. Proud of that one. Yeah, Alex, could there be more room given there between those two, do you think?
Well, I think, yes, you could say there was, but I think the main issue was they were getting sucked in. You know how occasionally that happens when you're a little bit side to side and the netcode just sucks you together, and there was nothing either driver could do there, which is a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, because of course Smolensky, he has the priority. It's his racing line, and he can do what he wants really with Dan Hunt. But then of course Dan Hunt was there, and he had the opportunity to get the place as well. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. But once again, it's that factor of Watkins Glen. The track just narrowed down there, and that slightest bit of contact, as you're saying, Alex, just results in more contact due to the netcode issues.
Yeah, exactly.
Typical touring car incident, and it's a typical Watkins incident too. But again, two more cars, Alex, came through, steaming through the incident area, and took them out of the race as well. Ben Palmer, and it was also Ellis Stevens as well. So bad luck for them. But in truth, Adam, it was a great race.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I hope it carries on for the rest of the evening. We've got 19 cars reversed for the second race, and I think that's just going to throw up even more surprises.
All right, guys. Well, thanks very much for joining me for the race number 1 of the day. 2 more left, and join us back on BSRTC TV very, very shortly. Gordon Wilson will be on pole for round 8 of the season.